I'm really excited you can join me, and thank you for showing up for you and making this effort for you, because this is for you. It is my gift to you. I'm not going to be selling to you or anything like that. This is simply a gift to help you, to guide you through the reflection process. I want to let you know that this is being recorded. So if you don't want to appear on the class at all, if you don't want to be heard on the class, then just don't speak. It's that simply it. What I will do is I'll pause occasionally through the masterclass for questions. If you do have a question, so I want you to place it in the comment box. Now, I don't know if you've been on Zoom before. If you haven't, the comment box, you can find that if you float your cursor along that black band at the bottom, all along the bottom of the screen, if you float your cursor along there, you will see a bubble and it says chat. So if you click on that, the comment box will appear. If you have a question or if there's anything you want to share, please type it in the comment box. And if you do have a question, you can either let me know in there that you don't want to talk and you want the question answered in the comment box, or if I see a question typed in there with no request for privacy, then I'll take you off mute and we can have a chat. I'll also take people off chat if you have a bit of a challenge going through any of the processes as well. I just want to, actually, before I said all that, I should have checked in with you on this. If you can hear me, just click on the chat box now and type in yes. So can you hear me? Just let me know if you can hear me okay. Brilliant. Fantastic. That's great. Yay. Fantastic. That's great. I did have a little bit of volume floating in and out last night, so just wanted to check in with you. I've got 2 people with hands up. Does that mean you want to speak, or? If you do want to speak, just let me know in the chat box. Ah, hand gone down. Someone else arriving. Ah, it is a nice picture. I actually took this picture myself at Fitzroy Island. So that's taken from Nudie Beach in Fitzroy Island. No, it's not. We don't go on there sunbaking nude. It's just called that for some reason. I don't know why. I'm sure there's a history behind it. Yeah, that's what I took myself. Yeah, and I don't normally think that I take a very good photo, but I obviously did this time. Good morning, Mel. Good morning. Awesome. All right, so you'll notice I'll glance down occasionally at my notes, and that's just because I want to give you everything that I can in the masterclass. So I have dotted a couple of things down so I don't forget everything or forget anything. So if you don't have a notebook and pen with you right now, just go and grab one, because this is actually an interactive class. So we'll be implementing as we go through the class. I'm not just going to be talking at you. So go and grab a notebook and pen. So has everyone got a notebook and pen with them? If you've got any planners, any journals, have those in front of you as well that you've used throughout the year that you can use to help you reflect back on. Grab those and bring those in front of you. Anything to sip on, glass of water or cup of tea or anything else you want to have a sip on. And make sure that you're in a place where you won't be disturbed as well, because we will be doing a couple of visualizations, which is a really lovely part of this process. So make sure you're in a place where you won't be disturbed. So the masterclass today is really to guide you through that reflection process, because it's a really important part of completing your year in the most resourceful way. So why is that? Well, what I've noticed, and it seems to be a natural conditioning of human behavior, is that many people, or most people in fact, and most people when they first come to work with me, have a natural tendency to focus on everything they haven't done and everything that they haven't achieved and all the things that didn't work that well throughout the year. And I also noticed, not so much this year that I've noticed this on social media, and it's maybe because of the algorithms, and I don't normally like that sort of thing. So this year I haven't noticed this as much, but last year I noticed it a lot on social media as well. A lot of people saying, oh, thank God we're at the end of the year. This has been a tough year. This has been a hard year. This has been a bad year, or whatever negative descriptor they like to put on it, and can't wait for the new year to finish. Here's the thing though. While we're focusing on the year just passed in that way, we're likely to experience the same in the year to come, no matter how hopeful we feel. Why is that? Well, you maybe have heard it described as quantum physics, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later, around the spiritual aspect of it as well. It also happens to be the way our mind works. You see, there is a part of our brain, a little part of our brain called the reticular activating system. And if you've done any of my programs or trainings before, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So the reticular activating system's job, it's a tiny part of our brain. It's about this big, and it sits at the top of our spinal column and the base of our brain. And its job is to filter information. Its job is to filter information, and it filters information according to experiences that we're having right now or experiences that we've had in the past. And it also filters information according to what we're focusing on. I have a really great story about this. I really notice when this happens. So this year, in May this year, my son got married, and I went on the hunt for the yellow dress. For some reason, I just wanted a yellow dress, and I looked high and low. I could not find the yellow dress, but I saw yellow everything else. I saw yellow signs, yellow buildings, yellow doors, everything that you can think of that was yellow, I noticed it. And it was my reticular activating system filtering in that which I was looking for, which was part of my experience and what I was focusing on. So if we're focusing on experiences that we've had this year and looking at them from a negative viewpoint, then that is what our reticular activating system will continue to filter in. We'll just continue to keep noticing all those negative experiences and all those things that go wrong. And guess what? We filter in possibilities and opportunities that help support that. So what that means is that if we're focusing on filtering information in that way, and we move into the new year in that way, then we are highly likely to experience and attract in and notice the similar sort of experiences next year. Now, Tony Robbins says? What you focus on is what you get. And I'm sure there's many other coaches and philosophers that have used that, but I know Tony Robbins has used it. So what you focus on, you'll continue to get. And this is so true, because while we're stuck in that behavior pattern, what also happens is that we fail to gain the insights that will help us in the year to come. When we're stuck in that behavior pattern, noticing all the things that went wrong, the things we didn't like, then we fail to see the insights, we fail to see the learnings, we fail to see the gifts that can actually help us improve in the new year to come. This is a really big thing. So while we're beating ourselves up for the things we didn't achieve, or the things we didn't quite achieve, or the things we didn't do that well, or beating the year up for what it didn't deliver, we're missing all those key insights. And this is a mindset thing. So it's really important to get your mindset right before you move into the next year, rather than waiting until you're 3 months, 6 months into the year and wondering what went wrong again. Now, if you're not totally convinced about this yet, there's another aspect to this. There is a physical or physiological aspect to this as well. So while we're focusing on the things that we didn't achieve, beating ourselves up, focusing on the things that didn't go right or that didn't go particularly well, that we needed to do better, it affects our state. It affects our emotional state, because the way we feel is a simple reflection of the way we're perceiving our world. This affects our state, and it leads us to lack motivation. You know, think of our kids. If we've got kids, you know, when they do something particularly well and we really acknowledge them for it, they're more inclined, they feel more motivated. And it's not a manipulation thing. They actually feel more motivated to take steps again to achieve even greater things. And it's the same with us. We do it with our kids, we do it with our best friends, we do it with our families, but most people tend to be really slow with doing this for themselves. So it's about being our own best friend, because the way we feel, it'll affect the actions we take or the actions we don't take. And it'll also affect our behavior, the way we communicate. It affects a whole range of different things. So it's important to learn to perceive things in a different way to maintain our state. There's one other aspect to this that I want to share with you that will really help you gain an understanding of why this is so important, and really help you get a feel for it even more and start to see it in a different way. So let's look at it from a spiritual perspective. So everything that we experience is energy. Everything in our house, everything in our environment, everything in nature, even ourselves, we are energy. And energy vibrates, and it vibrates at different rates. Now, emotions that come from beating ourselves up, so if we're focusing on what we haven't done, what we haven't achieved, the emotions that we actually choose to feel because of that vibrate at a really low level. So I'm talking about emotions like frustration, annoyance, even despair and helplessness. It's like, oh, not another year of the same thing. It vibrates at a much lower rate. Now, the things that we want to achieve leads us to have emotions like happiness, success, a sense of achievement. Those emotions cause our energy to vibrate at a higher rate. So if we move into the new year where we want these things that cause us to vibrate at a higher level, and we're leaving this year focusing on the things that we don't want and vibrating at that lower level, as we go through the year, I don't know if you can see my hands, we just keep missing it. Yeah, we just keep missing it. So it's important to actually raise our vibration as we leave the old year behind. And know that you get this, getting a feel for it. Just type a yes in the chat bar for me if you're getting a feel for it. It's resonating with you. You can see what I mean. Yeah. Yeah, awesome. Fantastic. Yeah. Yep. So it's important that we reflect. Would you agree? It's important that we reflect. It's important that we reflect. So reflection is actually looking back over the year in parts and as a whole, and looking for the good in the year. Looking for the good in the year. And it all begins with the first part of this. The first part is to look for the highlights, is to look for the good times, is to look for the things you've achieved, the things you've even partially achieved, and the things you've done really well, and to start to acknowledge yourself for that. And what you'll notice is when you really start to look for these things, you will remember far more than you remembered before. It's about asking ourselves these questions, and as we ask ourselves these resourceful questions, then the answers start to flood in. Our unconscious mind starts to give us the answers that we need. Starts to give us the answers that we need. Okay, so let's do this right now. And let's do this, let's have a bit of a visualization and do this right now. So wherever you're sitting right now, I want you to put your feet on the floor. So, ground yourself, put your feet on the floor. And take a deep breath in. And breathe out. Ooh, good feeling at this time of the year. And as you breathe out, raise your eyes to focus on a spot just above eye level. Raise your eyes to focus on a spot just above eye level. And as you focus on that spot just above eye level, take another deep breath in and breathe out. And as you breathe out, become aware of the sounds in the room. Just have a listen for the sounds. Notice the space in the room around you. Notice the energy in the room. Notice the walls. Just keeping your gaze ahead without moving your eyes. Just become aware. Bring in that peripheral vision and notice the walls either side of you, behind you, and in front of you. And as you notice all that, feel your awareness beginning to expand right now. Feel your awareness beginning to expand. And as you do this, you will notice that you start to feel more relaxed. Beautiful. Well done. And as you feel more relaxed, your eyes naturally want to close. And just let them close when they want to. Well done. And as your eyes close, in your mind's eye, imagine that you're turning to face your past. Imagine you're turning to face your past. Trust your unconscious mind. The first direction that comes to you is the right one. In your mind's eye, turn to face your past. And you see in front of you that moves to your past, you see there's a beautiful, beautiful golden line. It's a beautiful golden line right in front of you. And right at the very far end of the golden line is January 2018, beginning of this year, January 2018. And as you see that, you can see there's a bit of a golden glow there, lighting up January 2018. So in your mind's eye, start walking that golden line. And keep walking that golden line until you reach the end of it in January 2018. And as you reach the end of the golden line, you're in January 2018. Notice where you are in January. Notice where you are in January 2018. See any people that you've connected with in that time. Notice the people that you've connected with. Notice the things that you did in January 2018. Anywhere that you went, anywhere you traveled to, what you did in your business, your work. Notice what you did in your business or your work. What you did with your family, loved ones, friends. Any projects that you did in January 2018 and the results of those. Notice all that around you as you see what you're seeing, hear what you're hearing, and feel what you're feeling in January 2018. Looking for the achievements, looking for the things you did well, looking for things that you partially achieved and you achieved well, looking for the times that you stepped outside of your comfort zone in January 2018. So that is an achievement in itself. Looking for any highlights and looking for good times in January 2018. And just notice all that. Notice it, hear it, and feel it. And now Take a step back and you're in February 2018. Take a step back and you're in February 2018. See what you're seeing, hear what you're hearing, and feel what you're feeling in this month. Notice the achievements, whether they were big achievements, partial achievements, times you stepped out of your comfort zone that you can really acknowledge yourself for. Things you did really well, anything that was completed or started, something that was maybe maintained. Maybe you traveled, maybe you went to different places. Noticing all that, we're looking for the highlights, the good times, achievements. See what you're seeing, hear what you're hearing, and feel what you're feeling. Take another step back into March 2018. Take another step back to the present in March 2018. And notice here where you were in March 2018. Looking now for highlights, good times, time spent with other people, times that you did something that was a little bit different to what you would normally do, and what an achievement that was to actually do something differently. Notice things that you maybe partially achieved, or the things that you completely achieved, anything that you maintained. Taking all that in, see what you're seeing, hear what you're hearing, and feel what you're feeling in March 2018. Stepping back again now to April 2018. Back to the present, April 2018. It's just after Easter. In Cairns, I think we were on school holidays. Notice what you did in this time, any good times you had, any highlights of April 2018, any places that you went to, anything that you achieved. A time maybe you used a different strategy for the first time. Anything you partially achieved that you can acknowledge yourself for, and things that you did really well, whether it's any aspect of your life, it doesn't matter which aspect of your life it is. Notice these things, see what you're seeing, hear what you're hearing, and feel what you're feeling as you're looking for the highlights, the good times, the achievements, times you've stepped out of your comfort zone, and the things you did really well. Taking another step back now to the present, another step back to the present, and we're in May 2018. May 2018 in Australia is Mother's Day. And it's when in Cairns, it's when our weather starts to cool down a little bit. So what are you doing in May 2018? What are you doing with your time in May 2018? Who are you spending time with? Where are you? You're traveling somewhere, looking for the highlights, the good times of May 2018. Looking for times that you may have stepped out of your comfort zone. You know, often that happens around May as we head towards the end of the financial year. Acknowledging yourself the times you stepped out of your comfort zone, regardless of the results you got. Looking for achievements, looking for things that you did really well in May 2018. See what you're seeing, hear what you're hearing, and feel what you're feeling right now. Stepping back another step towards the present day. We're in June now, June 2018. June 2018, and I think the end of June 2018 is the beginning of more school holidays. It's a holiday time for a lot of people. It's the end of the financial year at the end of June in Australia. Notice what you were doing in June 2018, where you were, kind of things that you're doing with your time, Who you're spending your time with. Anywhere you traveled to. Any highlights, looking for highlights, looking for good times, looking for achievements, looking for things you did really well, things you can acknowledge yourself for. Stepping back now into July, so we're at the start of the new financial year in July 2018. July 2018. In your mind's eye, what are you doing in July 2018? Where are you? Are you on holidays, maybe? You're traveling somewhere new? Is there a particular project you started or completed? Did you get certain results? Were you looking at your results for the end of the financial year, the last financial year in July? Noticing the good things. Did you get a tax refund? That's a really great thing to acknowledge. Notice looking for achievements. Looking for the times maybe you stepped out of your comfort zone. The things you did really, really well. Any highlights? Any goals that you achieved, that you were aiming for? Anything that you can acknowledge yourself for? Any good times? See what you're seeing, hear what you're hearing, and feel what you're feeling right now. Taking another step back now into August. We're getting closer to the end of the year. We're in August 2018. Notice what you were doing in August 2018. We're looking for highlights. We're looking for good times. We're looking for achievements. We're looking for things you did really well. Times you maybe stepped out of your comfort zone. Maybe you went to a training. Maybe you did a speaking gig for the first time. Or spoke somewhere new. Or maybe you did a live video. Or it could be anything. Looking for this. When we're looking for achievements, we're looking for any achievement, not just the great big ones. You know, these are smaller ones that you can really acknowledge yourself for. And even if the results weren't what you expected, if it was something new that you'd never done before or something you felt a little bit uncomfortable about doing, that is an achievement in itself, no matter what the outcome was. No matter what the outcome was, just doing that thing is an achievement in itself and it deserves acknowledgement. So looking for those things in August 2018. See what you're seeing, hear what you're hearing, and feel what you're feeling right now. Taking another step back towards now, another step back towards the present. And we're in September 2018. It's the same again. We're looking for achievements, things you did really well, highlights, good times, times you stepped out of your comfort zone that you can acknowledge yourself for. Noticing all that in September 2018. September 2018. See what you're seeing, hear what you're hearing, and feel what you're feeling. Noticing it all even more, hearing it even more, and feeling it. Now take another step back into October 2018. And I'm sure you're noticing by now that there's lots of things that you've done. October 2018. Looking for the highlights, looking for the achievements, looking for the times you maybe stepped out of your comfort zone, did something really new, anything that you achieved or did differently, anything that you improved in October 2018. Anything you did really well, looking for that, noticing it and hearing it and feeling it. Now take another step back into November. November 2018, getting close to the end of the year now. Noticing what you did in November 2018, where you went, anywhere you travelled to, any holidays, anything you planned, maybe you booked a holiday, Any improvements that you made in any aspect of your life, whether it's your health, whether it's your finances, whether it's your relationship, anything that you did differently that you can really acknowledge yourself for, because it's in those times that you do different things that you really start to grow, and that requires courage. So it's about acknowledging yourself for that, no matter what the results were. Looking for the highlights, looking for the good times. Noticing all that, hearing it and feeling it right now. And now one more step back into December. One more step back into December and reflecting back over this month. In December, we get kind of busy with a lot of different things as we move up to Christmas. Even in that, looking at where you can acknowledge yourself, where you handled it better than you did the year before. You know, maybe you were a bit more organized. Maybe you were able to complete things, or maybe you can acknowledge yourself by not wanting to complete everything and being willing to leave ends undone that are not really important. That's a big achievement in itself for a lot of people. You know, noticing the people you spent your time with, what you did in December, what you achieved. A lot of people are achieving end of year goals in December, and if you didn't achieve them completely, noticing the parts that you did achieve and acknowledging yourself for that. That is the good times, the parties, the events that you went to in December 2018, the relationships built, the things you did really well, any projects that were completed or started. Noticing all that. See what you're seeing, hear what you're hearing, and feel what you're feeling right now. Reflecting back over the whole year, all the things that you've noticed as you've moved through this process, everything you've seen, heard, and felt, and remembering it right now. And when you're ready, open your eyes and pick up your pen and start to write down what you saw, what you heard, and you felt. All the highlights, all the good times, all the things you achieved, the times you can acknowledge yourself for stepping out of your comfort zone and doing something new, things you did really well, the changes that you made. Write all that down in your notebook right now, and I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that. And if you have any questions, just tap on the chat box and type them in there, and I can take you off mute and we can have a chat. Or if you prefer me to answer you in the chat box, let me know. And I will still stay quiet so you can think. I'll give you a couple of minutes. Doesn't matter what your line looked like. Everybody's line's different. Wobbly's good. Type in the chat bar what you're noticing. I'd love to hear what you're noticing as you're going through this process. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's often the case, and that's why it's a great idea to have your planners, your calendars, and your journals with you, Anne. Is sometimes we need to reflect back. This is why planners and journals are a really great way to go through our year, because we can actually make note of all the great things that have happened and all the things that we have achieved as we've gone through the year. And that's one of the reasons I developed your success planner, for exactly that reason. Um, yeah, it's that reflection process on a regular, consistent rate every month. Yeah, love that. How strong the golden color. Yeah, that's beautiful. And how much of that strong golden color, how much of a reflection is that on the year that you actually had? I'd be really curious. You just found the chat box. That's good. It's amazing how many things we achieve in a year that we totally forget about. We get to the end of the year and we totally forget what has actually happened, like at the beginning of the year and as we go through the year. You notice more starting in October, yeah. So it's probably like a 90-day stretch is a better place for you to remember. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that was Mackenzie. Yeah, that's it, Mackenzie. So you know that reflection process would be a really good thing for you to do as you go through the year, because you can actually make note of the things that happen as they happen through the year, because sometimes our memory, we have a challenge stretching back that far. So, but just know that as you started to do this process, the answers will start to flood in. You'll notice different ideas. You'll get different ideas. Just you'll be sitting, um, maybe sitting at home, and then all of a sudden the memory will come back. It's because you've started to ask yourself a question. Yeah, cool. Yeah, you did have an amazing year, Mel. You did. You had so many things. No wonder your golden line was a bit wobbly. But that's a good thing. Like you said, you know, there were lots of challenges. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's why it's so important. Yeah, good. Fantastic. We'll go more into that, the challenging situations in a minute. Yeah. Good for you. And it is a decision. We decide what we want to feel about a situation or not, Pauline. And I really like that you've come to that conclusion, that you decided not to feel bitter about it. That's awesome. Yeah. And it is a decision. As challenging at the time it is to realize that, because it feels like it just happens, but it doesn't. It's actually a reflection of the way we're perceiving something. And that's why this process is so important. Yes, love it. Does anyone have any questions that they would like to ask? And I'll take you off mute if you'd like to ask some questions. Any questions before we move on? Polly, did you want to ask a question? You've got your hand up. Just checking. No, thank you. I'm going to take you off. Would you like me to take you off mute to talk about that, Mel? Yeah. Okay, cool. Where are you? Where are you? There you are. Mel.
G'day, how you going?
How are you?
Yeah, really excited to see who else is online today.
Yeah, there's a few people. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so repeat your question again for everyone.
Yeah, it's why, like, when I thought about the year, and you just sit here and you think, I focused on some of the things that didn't work in relationships and maybe work, but then when I was actually looking back through my diary for each month, and then you saw the really amazing things that I'd done, either work-wise in the work progress, like it's just miles away from where I started this year, to being in a workplace where it was good and I sort of enjoyed it, but it was okay, very lost, no direction with it, to going to somewhere else where I've increased my pay, increased my qualifications, and on a really amazing journey and path as far as work is concerned.
Yeah.
And also forgetting about the things, the beautiful people that I've spent time with, and the adventures and the challenges that I deliberately set myself that were quite scary at the time. So scary isn't sort of probably the right word, but apprehensive about, and then achieving those things and doing really amazing stuff. So why do we forget about those joys and our successes, and instead, for me, beat yourself up?
It's because we remember that there's more.
Sorry.
And it's more around a survival thing, and this is my philosophy on it too, really, and I'm sure it's around this. It's a survival thing, so it's back from caveman days. So we're actually consciously looking for the things that could go wrong. So it really is, it's a part of the human conditioning, because if we don't look for the things that could go wrong, we could die, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's back into that those caveman days where it was so important that they look for those things that could go wrong, because otherwise they could be gobbled up by a saber-toothed tiger. And I honestly believe that's where it comes from, because we do, as human beings, have a natural tendency to look for the negative. We look for the challenges, we look for the things that didn't go well. So it's really important to start being conscious around that and flip it around. We still want to have it there. We still want to have it there because it does help us survive and it protects us. But it's about consciously flipping that around, and that's why these sort of processes are really important.
Yeah, and I guess that makes sense, because it's those points of discomfort or unhappiness that you've sort of focused on review that then were the inspiration isn't quite the right word, but the point at which you decide that's not acceptable, that's not where I want to be, and this is what I want to achieve, and then focusing on that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. It's really about consciously just bringing it back. And the more we do that, the more natural it becomes. It's kind of like, when you have a sled on a snow slope. Yeah, you've got freshly fallen snow, and you go down the slope on a sled. The first time you go down, you have a track. You go down again, the track gets more solid. You go down again, the track gets more solid. So this is where our natural focus is around the challenges. So that's the really ingrained pathway for the sled. So it's about consciously bringing it back. So deciding on creating a new pathway for the sled. And each time the sled has a natural motion to go back to the more solid pathway because it's easier. Yeah, it's the natural way to go. But the more often you steer your sled back and the more you have conscious awareness around that, then the more natural it starts to become. So that's why these regular reflection processes are really important. That's why I have it all the way through the planner, regularly reflecting each month.
And sorry to keep talking, but the other one is, like, I see Lindy's online as well, But like sitting back in my mind, like doing nursing and thinking, yeah, what she does with her boats, with her volunteer work is really cool, but hadn't been at a point, and then sort of being able to do that or being comfortable, but knowing after I'd follow this progression that would be something really cool to do in the future. So you've got those things sort of ticking over in your mind.
Yeah.
And then when you get to different points, you're then able to take a different path.
Yep, that's right. And this is where we'll go into the challenges, because if the challenges don't come, you don't actually develop the mindset and the internal resources to do those new paths. That's why the challenges are so important, but it's about seeing them in a different way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Does that help?
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks, Mel.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for sharing. I'm going to find you again. There you are. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else like to share or ask any questions? Okay. Let's jump into the next part. So the second part of this is to look for the lessons and the gifts. It's to look for the lessons in the gifts. And what this means is looking at challenges from a different perspective. Because most people look at challenges as a bad thing, instead of looking at what they're really about, which is to help us grow, is to help us to grow into who we need to be, as we just talked about a minute ago with Mel, to do those other things that we want to do. So it's about learning to look for the challenges from a different perspective. Now, when I say this, I understand that there are challenges that come at us that we have absolutely no control over. And they're things like, the quite traumatic events that can happen from time to time. So this is not about minimizing this, because I get that there are some challenges that are really huge, and I totally understand the emotions associated with that. And I understand that takes time to get over and move through. So it's not about minimizing any great, huge challenge that you've had this year. All this is about is looking at it from a different viewpoint, because even those challenges, like let's say for example a death in the family, which is a really sad thing to go through, even those challenges do have gifts associated with them. It's easy for me to talk about this now because my mum passed away 26 years ago. At the time it was difficult, but when I look at it now, the inner resources that I gained through going through the death of my mum at such a young age, and at a time when I was pregnant with my second child, what I gained from that was the strength, the actual internal strength and the courage that served me to raise 2 kids on my own and to build a new business just before I turned 50. Yeah. If that hadn't have happened, maybe another challenge would have come along to help me build that strength and those internal resources. So there's always a gift in it, even if the gift is just that you became stronger. And when you look at it this way, what you begin to see is different things, different lessons you've received, different gifts that you've received through those challenges that can actually assist you to achieve what you want next year. The gift is a choice. It is a choice. We can either see it as a gift or see it as something really bad that happened. So the gift is a choice, and sometimes it takes a while. Thank you, Pauline. Sometimes it takes a while for us to actually see that. So it's really about learning to look at it from a conscious place. When we do this, we get those insights, we get the lessons, and we get all those different tips even from it that can help us in the year to come. So this is where we gain the insights. So what I'd love you to do is write in your notebook any challenges that you can remember from 2018. Any challenges that you can remember from 2018. And as you write them down, look at what you gained from it. Look at what you actually gained from the challenge. And what I mean by that, anything that it taught you, any internal resources that you gained from it, any people that you met that you wouldn't have met before, anything that was actually beneficial for you in the long run, even though maybe at the time you didn't see it. So this is about changing the way you're looking at it before you move into next year, so you can gain those insights and gain those lessons that will help you change and improve and tweak things next year. So writing a list of any challenges and anything that you've learned from them. And I'll promise I'll keep my mouth shut so you can actually think and write these things down. I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that. Maybe even looking for things that you wanted to achieve and you didn't, you know, with the lessons that you gained from that as well. And just because you haven't achieved them yet doesn't mean that you won't achieve them next year. And it's often just by looking for the lesson you gain the insight that will actually help you to achieve them next year. And as you write the challenges down and what you've learned from them, make a note of what you will change, what you will do differently, or what you will improve next year because of that experience. Maybe I'll give you an example of one of mine. May help you. So this year, towards the end of this year, I decided I wanted to start running, which totally amazed me because it was something that I'd never done before, something I promised myself I would never do because I had some limiting beliefs around running, limiting beliefs about myself. And because it affected the way I felt about myself, I didn't run. So this year I decided I wanted to start running. So when I started running, I took it in small steps. I did 60-second sprints to start with, and I chose to run on the beach, which is, a lot of people say it's harder to run on the sand, but I actually found it more comfortable because I feel comfortable on the beach. So I started on the beach, and my goal was for the end of this year to be running the whole length of the beach, which is about 1.5K. I didn't reach it, so I got to a kilometre, which is a huge achievement in itself, from not running at all and never believing that I would run or didn't think I was a runner, etc., etc. Think of all the other reasons why. So it's a great achievement in itself. But what I noticed and what I learned was I was a little bit unrealistic in my end goal. I was a bit unrealistic with the timing, because what I didn't take into account was the times that the tide was in, which affected the times I could run or how many times I could run a week. What I also didn't take into account was my workload in this final quarter of the year, and still on the final stretches of recovering from fatigue issues. I know that it's important to balance myself really well when I have workloads and not over-exercise during those times. So they were the learnings that I can now take forward into next year to help me achieve that goal. I trust that makes sense. Does anyone have any questions? Anything you'd like to share? I know we're running a little bit over time. But this is, I trust this is a good thing because you're having more time to gain some insights. Does anyone have any questions? Anything you want to share or anything you've noticed at all going through the process? Everyone ready to move on to the next part? Just type a yes in the chat bar if you're ready. Awesome. Yep. Yeah, I get it. Awesome. Awesome. I love it. Yeah, that's great. And that's what this is about, you know, building those really resourceful emotions before we jump into 2019. Yeah, I love it. Everyone got some insights from that process. Just type a yes in for me because I want to make sure that you're actually getting what you came from. Yeah, good. Fantastic. Yes, 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 yes. Love it. Fantastic. Okay, so the next part and the final part is to be grateful for the year as a whole. Is to be grateful for a year as a whole. So we hear a lot about gratitude. Oh, that's awesome. You're feeling really solid and secure and grounded for the upcoming year. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's my intention. That's my intention. Okay. So we hear a lot about gratitude. So why is it important? Why is it important? So, well, gratitude is the closest state to love for a start. Gratitude and appreciation is the closest state to love. And love is our natural state. So what that means is it's that state is vibrating at a really high level. So when we leave the year being grateful for the year as a whole, it will raise our vibration so that we're actually in that same level of vibration of what we want to attract. I'm not sure if I said before, the law of attraction states that we must be a match for that which we want to attract. So it's really about raising our state, raising our vibration. What it also does is change, our emotions change too, as I've already said. So our emotions change. We are going to feel a lot more motivated to start the year. We'll feel a lot more motivated. We'll feel a lot more ready to start the new year on a really powerful foot and in a really high level. So what that means is that we're more likely to take actions that are a little bit out of our comfort zone, and that is what brings the results. What it also means is that we're training our mind to focus on the good things. We're training our mind to focus on the things that we're really grateful for, which are the great things, which instead of the challenges, we're being grateful for the lessons. So we're starting to change our focus, which will change the way our mind's filtering information. And that means as we move through to the new year, we start to have more ideas. We start to filter in more opportunities and possibilities to help us to get to where we want to be. So there's a multitude of different reasons why gratitude is important. So it's really about being grateful for the year as a whole, for the highlights, the achievements, the lessons learned, the gifts, and the things and the people in our life that we're grateful for. So again, what I'd love you to do is take another deep breath in and just close your eyes. Let's do it right now. Just close your eyes. And take another deep breath in. And breathe out. And as you breathe out, feeling yourself in your body, just notice that you feel your feet on the floor. I don't know if you feel the seat underneath you or not. And as you notice that, feel yourself in, you notice you feel yourself in your body even more, and you can feel your energy starting to slow down. Starting to slow down. and relax. And focusing on your breath moving in through your nose, noticing the coolness of the air as you breathe in through your nose. And notice the warmth of the air as you breathe out through your nose right now. Just clearing your mind. And in your mind, silently to yourself, ask yourself, what am I grateful for? What am I grateful for right now? What am I grateful for throughout the year? And just wait. Wait for it to come in. Notice any images. Notice any sounds, any voices, pictures of people, events. Any lessons, hearing the messages, and feel the feeling of gratitude even more. Take another deep breath in and breathe out. And as you breathe out, again, ask yourself silently, what am I grateful for? What am I grateful for now? What am I grateful for during the year? And just wait and allow the messages, the sounds, the images, the feelings to come in. Just allow them to come in. Really feel that love and appreciation right now as you see what you're seeing, hear what you're hearing, and feel that feeling. Feel the feeling of love, of gratitude and appreciation right now as you're noticing everything, everyone, every event, every situation, every lesson, achievement, all the good times and highlights that you're grateful for. And take another deep breath in and breathe out. And when you're ready, open your eyes, pick up your pen, and write down in your notebook everything you saw, heard, and felt, and everything that you're grateful for this year. Write it all down, and I'll give you a couple of minutes. And when you've written them all down, write thank you, thank you, thank you. Really completely feel that gratitude. And notice how different you feel. This is a fantastic practice to use every single day. Whether it's first thing in the morning or last thing at night, really reflecting back over the day or the previous day of what and who you're grateful for during that day. Oh, I love it. That's great, Polly. Energy buzzing through my body. Love it. Yes, my job is done. I love it. Fantastic. Well done. Awesome. Does anyone have anything that they'd like to share? Any questions? Anything that you've noticed? I'm getting lots of comments about excitement and feeling grounded and energy buzzing through the body, which is awesome. I love it. And this is what it's about. It's about raising our state and keeping our state uplifted. I'm grateful for so much. Yeah, it is an awesome way to be. It is. Because there's a saying, I don't know who said it, but the more that you're grateful, the more you're given to be grateful for. I'm not sure who said that. Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much, Yolandi. Thank you so much. And I'm grateful for you too. It's such a pleasure to work with you. It really is. And share your journey. Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that, because it's why I do what I do. So thank you. I'm feeling great now as well. I was before anyway, but yeah, thank you. Anyone want to share anything? Any questions at all? Let me know. Let me know. I know we're running a little bit late, but if you do have a question, just type in the comment box and we have a quick chat, because this is the time to do it. This is the time to do it. Okay, so there's a really famous quote by Dr. Wayne Dyer. I love Dr. Wayne Dyer. The quote is that when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. When you start to look at the year in parts and as a whole, when you look for the highlights, when you look for the achievements, when you look for the good times, the lessons learned, and see the gifts, and when you're grateful for all that, then your state is more uplifted. Your vibration rises, so you're vibrating on the same level of that which you want to attract. Oh, the quote, yes. So the quote was, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And it's because your state is uplifted, your energy starts to vibrate at a higher level. You start to change your focus. So in effect, you're actually rewiring your brain as well. You're starting to rewire your brain to look for the good things. And because of that, and this is what I love about this quote, because of that, you start to filter in different information. You start to filter in different information. You start to see more possibilities and opportunities. You start to attract more things, because you're more positive things, the things you want to achieve, because you're vibrating at a higher level. There's a whole lot of benefits. You feel more motivated because your state's uplifted and you're feeling really positive emotions. And because of that, you're more willing to take actions that are outside of your comfort zone. So there are so many benefits for changing the way you look at things. There are so many benefits to change the way you look at things. Yeah. Yeah, you did have a fantastic year, Mel. Yeah. Good for you. I love that. It's great to look for challenges, because when you do that, you're actually choosing the challenges rather than being hit by them. So you're in effect having a little bit more control over the challenges that come in that help you to grow into who you need to be to have the results that you want. because it really is growing into who we need to be to have the results that we want. And it's seen very clearly often in people that win the lottery, for instance. You know, they win the lottery, 2 years later, they're broke again. Why? Because they didn't develop themselves. They hadn't changed. They hadn't grown within themselves. They hadn't developed the resources and the mindset to handle that kind of money. So that's why the challenges come. So choose your challenges. I love that, Mel. Choose the challenges. And meeting them head on like a cresting wave, and every time ended up on top, seeing what is around and being clear on where I want to go. Good for you. I love it. I love that. Fantastic. So, okay, so I'd love you to type in the comment box one insight that you got from today that will help you next year. One insight, one lesson, something that you got from today that will help you next year. I'd love you to share in the comment box. Good one. I have my plan for when I win Tax Lotto. I love that. Any insight that you've had that will help you next year? Any learning? Insight. Love it. To make a real habit of using a gratitude journal and to fill out my planner religiously. Yes, good one. Well done. Yeah, just having the insight in itself is important. Having that conscious awareness. What else? What other insight or thing did you learn in today's class that will help you next year, that will help you make different choices or change things or improve things next year? We had one last night, which was consistency, being consistent with things, which is a really great insight, because consistency and consistently taking those steps are what builds the greater outcome. To sit in my strength of who I am and be unshakable, to be focused and go through the scary to get where I want to be. Yes, love it. Love that. Learn to celebrate achievements and be more grateful for the people who helped me achieve such, like you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, that's a big one. Celebrating achievements. That's another thing to take from this. You know, write in your planner, write in your notebook what you will do to celebrate you and what you've achieved this year and the kind of year you've had this year. Reflecting on what I'm grateful for and realizing that there's so much to be grateful for and much to look forward to in 2019. Absolutely. I've just started to seriously save money, and my insight today is that saving is actually opening me up to receive an abundant amount that I know is waiting for me in 2019. And saving is teaching me that I can manage what is coming. Yes, fear of success is being more scary than failing. Yeah, and that's often the case. That is often the case. The fear of success is more scary than the fear of failing. Focusing on what I've achieved gives me a state that I can project into the future. Yes, that is a big insight. And this is a great thing to do at the end of the year. It's also a great thing to do at the end of the month, or even at the end of each week, you know, looking at what you've achieved for the week or what you've achieved for the month, and looking at the challenges, again, from that positive perspective. Looking for the gifts and the learnings that can help you in the next month or the next week. Any others? Any other insights? Love to hear them. Okay, it's lovely to see you, Polly. You've got to go. My pleasure. Merry Christmas. Yeah, everyone needs to check out Reflection and how it may be different than what I was thinking. Yes, then taking the good to build on and celebrate. Be grateful for all of it. Yes, absolutely. Beautiful. Yes, reflection isn't often a little bit different to what we initially think it is. And I'm glad you got that from it. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to finish because I know everyone's needing to hop off. So what I want to say to you guys is I'm really grateful for you joining me today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been such a pleasure sharing this hour and 15 minutes with you, and guiding you through this process. And this is a process I'll be doing myself in the next week. So thank you for joining me, and a Merry, 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 Merry Christmas to everyone, and have the most incredibly successful 2019. It's such a pleasure to share your journeys with you, whether I'm working with you, whether you're coming to a workshop, whether I just share with you in emails or in a group on Facebook. It's such a pleasure to share with you, and thank you for sharing your journeys with me. Lots of love to you and your family for a really beautiful Christmas and New Year. Lots of love. See ya. See you next year. Merry Christmas. I'll take you all off mute. Say bye.